we are getting straight into it. Yeah, that turned out better than anticipated. I know, I'm as shocked as you are. Anyway, unlike my previous videos in this series, it's video game collectibles, not collection. Because, well, we're not talking about the collection of video games I have, we're talking about the merchandise, the replicas, and all the other paraphernalia and ephemera that comes from these video games. And I'm not that big of a gamer these days. My range of video games is actually quite narrow, but the games that I do enjoy, I really enjoy enough to collect all this. We're going to get started from the bottom and work our way up.
It has begun!
So this was an awkward idea, but we're sticking with it. So anyway, 1992, and Mortal Kombat was most definitely one of those games you weren't meant to play as a 10-year-old. And of course, that was the thrill of it. Yeah, the first Mortal Kombat was probably the first arcade game that I ever spent all my pocket money on. I distinctly remember the machine was in the Central Market food court for a while, and then I think it went around the entire Central Market to different places. I was there when people started complaining about violence in video games. Yeah, it was Night Trap, of course, that kind of started it, I guess, but this one got everyone's attention. I gotta admit, collecting Mortal Kombat stuff, it swings and roundabouts, I guess. For those of you who can see these properly, the most obvious ones here are the MKX range of action figures and bobbleheads. They were surprisingly easy to find. Even easier was actually the MK9 series of figures. They actually ended up at the reject shop for like $5 or something each. I've got a few vintage G.I. Joe style Mortal Kombat figures here as well. And kind of pricey. My favourite characters, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, so I always have to have them represented. They're everyone's favourite, I guess, but for me it's specifically Sub-Zero more so than Scorpion, but you know what? Your mileage may vary. I just think Scorpion is kind of the Wolverine of the Mortal Kombat franchise anyway. Ooh, before we move on from Mortal Kombat, I've got something to show you. Ooh. Yep. The other thing I wanted to show was this. I made it. It's a light box for an original vintage Mortal Kombat arcade marquee. I bought the marquee sign on eBay. It was an absolute bargain, but I needed some way to display it. And I'd seen these light boxes everywhere on the internet, and people were making their own. And there's also some Etsy stores that actually make them for you. I thought, you know what, that's a challenge for me. I'll build one myself, and it was a lot of fun. It took only 2 days. I learned a few things as well, especially how to do the same thing as a router without having a router. Yeah. Anyway, we need to see it lit up, so give me a second. There we go, look at that. Oh, loving it. Beautiful. Oh, I'm getting too old for this. The next one will be a lot more comfortable.
You! Traitor like you doesn't deserve to wear the uniform.
Looks to me like you need all the help you can get.
Oh. Right. Yeah. Bit more comfortable. Actually, I took the belt off beforehand just so I could sit down. Anyway, Gears of War. What can I really say about it? I just really love the game. I love the designs, I love the world they've built, I love the stories, I enjoy the game itself as well. It's just a really fun cover shooter. Sort of, I think it kind of, it comes under that whole, I enjoy sci-fi, so I enjoy this as a science fiction adventure, I guess. I really just appreciate it all around. I mean, enough to also, you know, cosplay from it, of course, and also love it enough to collect the toys. I don't have a lot of Gears of War stuff, although this is a small selection from it, but for a while there you could just get Gears of War toys anywhere, thanks to the NECA figures and props and all the rest of it. I think half of this was actually from after the fact. Originally my Gears of War collection was probably only 3 figures back in a way back when. Now I kind of want to find as much as I can of it, and yeah, there's a few more in storage, I know that much, and every now and then I'll find figures loose here and there. Well, what have we got here? We've got NECA figures, large and small. We've got Mcfarlane figures. We've got blind box stuff. I've got some cog tags. Actually, I forgot to put cog tags on with this costume. Silly me. Oop, get back on there. And also, here's a lovely bootleg that we found in the reject shop. Bionicle of War. I don't know what to make of that. I actually hope to make a cosplay based on Old Man Phoenix here, because I like that one. I've got to admit, I actually thought Gears of War was done at number 3, which is what this is from. Gears of War 4 happens, which was very much testing the waters for something new, and then Gears of War 5 really rejuvenated the franchise by refocusing the attention onto Kate Diaz and her story. Fantastic, I loved that game. I would love to get some Gears of War 5 toys and merch, but I don't know. When NECA had the license, you could find the stuff. When Mcfarlane had the license, you could find the stuff in fewer places and slightly more expensive. But now, I don't know who's got the license now. I think, is it Storm Collectibles has it, and God, those figures are over $100. I mean, I also regret missing out on the Gears of War 4 and 5 versions of the Lancer rifle. Yeah, when they were around, I couldn't justify those. Yeah, but you know what? I'm still very pleased with what I have here. Oh, forgot my belt.
Wake up, Chief. I need you.
Alright, so I'm starting to regret committing to this gag, especially considering I don't think anyone's going to be watching my videos anyway. But we're here now. You know what? Ooh. Halo is another one of those video games that appeals to me because it's just a great science fiction concept. They've created this wonderful story based in this really compelling universe. Yeah, it really is just a fancy wrapping around what is basically a first-person shooter. I gotta be honest, the older I get, the more drawn to these games I am by the campaign story. You know, I've been a fan since the very first game. When my mum bought me the first Xbox, then she surprised me with it. So I've loved the game since then, but I didn't fall in love with Halo until Halo 4. Again, that has to do with the campaign story being so good, so well written. And I've talked about this elsewhere. It's basically a platonic love story between Master Chief and Cortana. He's trying to help his best friend, his only friend, survive, all while trying to save humanity. But, oh, we're here to talk about toys. When it came to collecting Halo, I guess I was sort of late to the party. The first Halo toys I actually bought were for Halo 4. And the way I did that is similar to the way I did the Mortal Kombat stuff. I mentioned before, some of the Mortal Kombat figures I have were actually from the reject shop, and they were like only a few dollars each figure. Similar with the Halo 4 stuff. Bargain variety stores like the reject shop or Cheapest Chips, they get excess stock or stuff that's thrown out. They buy that up and then try and resell it when larger retailers can't sell it off anymore. I believe that's how some of that works. And so, yeah, the Mcfarlane Halo 4 toys, they were going for like maybe $7 or $10 each or something like that. So I grabbed as many as I could, including the, oh, it's not here. I used it for a photo, including the cryo chamber that Master Chief awakens in at the beginning of Halo 4. Actually, I must correct myself. The first Halo toys were actually from Halo 3. One of them was the Halo 3 Cortana. The other one is Halo 3 version of Master Chief. It was in the giant blister pack. I did not open that one. Huh, interesting. I know why I didn't open that one, because I also had the 12-inch or 30-centimeter Master Chief as well. That's the third one I bought. That one I stumbled upon at my local Target, and I think I was using it as cosplay reference for my very first version of Chief's armor. Then there was the Halo 4 toys that I found at the reject shop. I grabbed armfuls of them for cheap, and then when I started collecting things properly is when a lot of this stuff came along. Went back to more of the Mcfarlane toys, like the stuff from Halo Legends. There's some Halo 5 figures there. There's some Joyride figures that I've found more recently as well. Some of these I find on eBay, some I found at toy fairs. That giant Elite in the teal armor. I discovered that guy at Savers for about $6 or $7. I found his red counterpart probably a year later at the Port Markets for about $10. Yeah, then there's Master Chief Inactive Camo. That's another Joyride figure. I think Joyride were the first to have the license to make Halo toys, so if you find any now, they are pricey. Having a look at this, I think there are actual memories attached with some of these Halo toys. I mentioned before the 30 centimeter Master Chief was a cosplay reference for when I made my first armor. That armor actually means a lot to me. I went from the fiberglass version and then replaced all the parts with foam, and then after four or 5 years of that armor, I moved on to this one. But yeah, for those 4 years, that armor served. So that armor that armor saw many a tour of duty, I guess, at on the local con circuit. I wore it so much, I became known for it. So just a quick side note, this here is my original fiberglass Master Chief helmet that I built back in 2010. It's currently being displayed somewhere else in the house. It's also one of the few pieces from that original cosplay that is still intact. In the last 10 years, not only has it been worn by Jessica Negri, whom I had the fortune of judging a cosplay contest with back in 2013, it's also been signed by the voices of Master Chief and Cortana, Steve Downes and Jen Taylor. So yeah, this is still one of the favourite pieces I have in that I've made. One of the other figures up here that has potential meaning for me is the Didact. He was the big bad guy in Halo 4. Oh, that design is just really bloody wonderful. But more than that, he was the toy that I purchased the last time that I was interstate for a convention. That was Melbourne Armageddon Expo in 2013. But yeah, that was such a fun weekend. I think it might have been the first time I ever bought something at a convention, because I was thinking to myself, you know what, I got money at the moment, I'm just gonna, spend away. And yeah, I think it was my, it was meant to be my memento for the weekend. I actually have a lot of Halo toys that I just pick up around the place. Lots of random figures because they kept churning out. Mcfarlane was churning out so many variations of Spartans, and you start picking them up all over the place. It's quite the opposite of what it appears to be now, where everything's an exclusive or limited numbers or not even making it to Australia. For instance, I was hopeful when Mattel got the license for Halo 5. I was hopeful that those figures would be everywhere, but no, they were only available at maybe a couple of places. You know what, I don't want to get into a rant, that's for another time. Whereas Mortal Kombat is nostalgia for my arcade experience. I remember lining up at time zone lock-ins for Mortal Kombat. Halo seems to be more attached to my cosplay and con experience. I also remember it for the LAN nights that we used, the System Link nights, or whatever you call them, taking your Xbox over to someone's house and connecting them all up. It's got that too, but I think more than that, it's more to do with the fact that it's inspired so much. I mean, this is my third iteration of Master Chief's armor. This cabinet here is very straightforward. This reorganizing so far has been just shifting this cabinet 1 meter across, and I needed to do that mainly because of what's up top here. The reason for my reorganizing of this part of the collection, I needed more room to display this lot. Yeah, the much larger pre-order statues and props that don't fit on a shelf, and just needed to, well, they needed to be seen, and also seen in the one place. Let's start at the top there, eh? 2009, I attended my very first convention, and the cosplay I did for that was Marcus Phoenix from Gears of War. But that cosplay needed a prop, specifically the Lancer. That Lancer I bought at a game store then. I thought, bugger it, I need it, I don't have time to make it, and it's been through a lot. 2 different Gears of War costumes. It's also been signed by the voice of Marcus Phoenix, John DiMaggio. Actually, the way it's angled was meant to be helpful in seeing where John signed it, but the placement of it makes it difficult. Oh well. The other Lancer was actually part of a $50 Nerf rifle job lot. I love a bargain. The other prop up there is the Covenant Needler. This was made by NECA Toys, and it was sold to me by a friend and fellow Halo fan, Shani. She was trying to declutter a space. She contacted me and offered it to me for an absolute bargain. 10 minutes later, I had that in my possession. It's beautiful when lit up as well. Good God, it's such a monster of a thing to display. Both those props required me to build a special stand for them. Very simple. You really can't see it when you're looking at it. That one was made using scraps I had around the house. I'm very proud of the simple solution that allows them to display like that. Nothing fancy, nothing elaborate, nothing themed like I've done once before. But yeah, just needs to be shown off. This big fella right here is also from NECA Toys. Quarter scale Master Chief based on his appearance in Halo 4. It's actually the first quarter scale figure I bought ever. Man, do I wish I had that as cosplay reference when I was building that version of the armor. I just put a Mcfarlane Cortana there just to sort of complete the appearance. As far as the rest of the stuff here, it's they're all the pre-order bonus collector's edition statues. I don't think I've talked about this before. I prefer figures over statues. I like being able to pose them the way I want. I at least want the choice to be able to pose them however I want. However, these vinyl statues, I get them because I think they're kind of cool and they're cheap. I actually don't pre-order games. I'll go to the cheapest price in town to get the game, play it, hopefully I like it, and if I do like it enough and stumble across one of these things, I'll buy it. And doing it that way, I still pay less than what the pre-order collector's edition would have cost brand new. I've actually put the 3 main games up the top there. That was a Gumtree listing, that was a pawn shop for like 25 bucks, and I think that was another Gumtree listing. I could have done what these people did, pre-order the game, get the collector's edition, and then when they run out of room, or not like if they didn't like the game, they could sell off their stuff. But you know what, I kind of don't want that hassle. I like the game enough, I'll get it afterwards. Does that make sense? It's late, I'm rambling again. I've got some more game statues here as well that are outside of the big 3. Look, I've already spoken about my love of the Arkham games in my Batman video. You already know all about that. 2 of the 3 Arkham games represented here. Arkham Knight, and also the from Arkham Asylum, the Batarang that was included with that game. Again, bought them after the fact. I think this one was a cash converter's purchase. Woke up early that day. So I'm very late to the Resident Evil party. I never played the games when they first came out back in the 90s. I'm not really a horror fan, let alone a survival horror fan. 2019, they do a remake of Resident Evil 2. I watched my mate Figaro play it on his YouTube channel. It actually looked really good. It piqued my interest. It pretty much drew me in. I fell deep. I wasn't going to pay the $500, $600, $700 for the collector's edition. Found this fella in cash converters for 25 bucks. Oh dear. Side note, I've been watching some of the voice actors and even the face models play the games they're in. It's like watching a DVD commentary. It's fascinating the tidbits they reveal. Something's bothering me at the moment. And it's this. This bookcase is full of old X-Rental VHS tapes. This bothers me right now, this entire case. In all fairness, it was here first, before the rest of this stuff started growing around it. But it no longer suits this corner, so I'm thinking about getting rid of it. Yeah, I might have to deal with this first and then we'll come back. Okay, I reckon I've done all right here. Had a few complications with this corner, but this particular industrial style bookcase, if you've watched my Batman video, you will recognize it. I originally bought it for a different purpose, for a different placement, actually right there, but I'll go into that next time. The difficulty with this corner is that I needed something that not only fit this space, but also needed to fit the collectibles I needed to place there, and it also needed to be affordable. But on top of that, it also needed to be in stock. With everything going on, everyone's out of stock of everything. Luckily, I bought this probably a month ago for that other purpose. And I thought, bugger it, I'll use it here. When it comes to cabinets that have non-adjustable shelves, you don't want to take the gamble of spending so much on something and then finding out that it doesn't fit the very thing that you're trying to display. It actually works out really well because it's the right height to be able to show off the Mortal Kombat marquee. It's the right size for some of these taller collectibles here. It's an open frame, so it doesn't obscure anything, especially this light switch. I don't actually use that light switch. However, I don't like obscuring vital parts of the house like that, so it also allows me to put the extra stuff over here and free up some space over there as well. It allows me to display any other game related stuff that isn't Mortal Kombat, Gears of War or Halo. In particular, this fella right here. Oh. I am honestly surprised I don't have more Sonic the Hedgehog stuff. Actually, I do have a few more Sonic the Hedgehog items in storage, but I can't get to it. Even with those items, I'm surprised I don't have more Sonic the Hedgehog stuff. I mean, I bought this. It was $5 at Savers, which, when you think about it, is about right. Oh, whoops. Did I forget to take off the sale price off for here? In any case, it kind of looks a little sparse at the moment, I get that, but if anything, I'm future-proofing. The more Sonic stuff I get, I'll place it here. Leon Kennedy up there looks all alone at the moment, but I do plan on getting more Resident Evil stuff. There's a few on the wish list at the moment. So yeah, I think this makes for a really nice expansion to what I had before. It's such a mess around here. So we're at that part of the video where I go through some of the extra odds and ends from the accessible part of my storage. And yeah, there's quite a bit actually, because, ooh, almost dropped it. A lot of this is stuff that I just find around the place. A couple of Gears of War 2 figures, Marcus and Dom in Theron disguises. That was part of a job lot because I wanted the other... Oh, anyway. Speaking of Gears of War figs, look at that. Look at that head-splattered locust. That's very cool. That's right, a couple of these, no, more than a couple of these were from Savers for like 10 bucks each. I got this for like 50 bucks at a toy place that's no longer around. It had been sitting there for ages collecting dust. No one was paying it. Before, you might have spotted the large 30 centimeter Marcus Phoenix. That one was from the first game, the first Gears of War game. I found that at my local Target. I think that might have been cosplay reference as well when I made my original Phoenix costume back in 2009. You know, a decade later, this one popped up. This is from Gears of War 2, and it's basically the same figure with a different expression on his face. The first figure, you press a button and he says lines from the game. This one just lights up. They look very angry. I want to find more of these figures. Yeah, these were from Toy Island, and they're about 10 inches tall, and yeah, this one was an Aussie auction, so that's why I got it for so cheap. But when you find these things online, they're a little bit exorbitant for my liking, mainly because of that postage cost is almost the same price as the figure itself. I'd love to get a Sub-Zero and a Scorpion from this range. Remember what I said before about finding Mortal Kombat toys in the reject shop? Unfortunately, I didn't get this at the reject shop. However, it was sold at the reject shop. I found this one on Gumtree probably a year later, maybe a year or two later, and I only paid like $3 more. It's Sub-Zero's Ice Sword, based on his weapon in Mortal Kombat 9, the Days of Future Past of the Mortal Kombat series. I think the batteries have finally died. I'm looking at my display there. I've got Gears of War weapon. I've got a big Halo prop. And I'm not afraid to open this up, mainly because it had already been opened by the previous owner. I'm thinking I might put that on display, so I'm just gonna get some batteries. Thinking you can see, hopefully you can see that. It lights up. Yay. 2012. Yeah, look, there wasn't much going for it. It's not like it's an Ultimate Effects saber or anything like that. This is Shao Kahn's Arena from 2012, again for the anniversary of Mortal Kombat, made for Mortal Kombat 9. The first time I saw this was at one of the conventions. I think it might have been Supernova. And on the end of the Sunday, Figaro and I were actually going around the stalls, having a last minute wonder, and one of the sellers offers these playsets to us for half price. Back then I really wasn't collecting yet, nor was I spending at conventions, but he leapt on it. Ro just bought one up because he's a massive Mortal Kombat fan. I've been envious ever since. Then, probably a week or two before filming this video, this one pops up. I think I only end up paying like $5 more than Rowan did after postage. So, and they were saying, oh yeah, there's some wear and tear on the box from storage, and I'm looking and going, there's not a lot of wear and tear at all, and I would see people selling it for 3 times that price in this condition. Having cleared a bit of space, I think I'm going to open this one up and put it on display as well. I guess, or at least I'm going to think about it. Yeah, I'm not going through that. Oh, it's got something special in here. This is the Halo Reach version of the Warthog. It's a really cool vehicle, and I'm thinking of putting it on display. However, I'm a little more in love with the die-cast Halo 4 version. Wow, that's a heavy bastard. Sadly though, it's broken and incomplete. Found this at the Brighton Sunday Market for, was it 12 bucks? Something like that. Plasma rifles. One of these I bought from a game store, and I think I had a discount on that one. I think I got 25% off. A few years later, I bought the other one from Target. Yeah, it was in the discount bin at Target for 1/3 of the original retail price. Maybe even 1/4, because the batteries had run out. So I got 2 of them now for the price of 1. And yeah, I've actually used these for my Master Chief cosplay. Oh, they're laser tag, by the way. Did I mention that? These actually have the sounds of the multiplayer, announcing things like Slayer and whatnot. Then what happened next? I found these at a Savers. I think that was like 10 bucks for the 2 of them. People are asking hundreds of dollars for these online. I found another pair for about $10 as well at Savers. Sadly, I may not have room for this one. Or I can make it, however, I'm actually still glad that I got it. Here's a Master Chief statue for a Halo 3 Master Chief statue. God, this box is beat up. Kotobukiya. It's a very popular or sought after statue. Someone at one of the toy fairs keeps wanting to sell me this statue. Mainly because I showed interest in it. And, you know, fair enough. He's a salesperson, he's trying to make a sale, and every time he sees me at the various fairs, he keeps trying to convince me to buy it. At a few $100s, it was too much for my liking. This one, I found at the Brighton Sunday Market. On one of my trips, I was doing one final lap on my way out to the car. I thought I was done. And I spotted this at one of the tables that had set up late. And the gentleman said that he was selling it for his son, who's now older, and it had been sitting in his shed for the better part of 10 years. This thing goes for, what, $300-400, depending on the condition and depending on the color of the Spartan you have in there. I paid 45 bucks because that's all I had left in my wallet. The box is beat, I don't care, but the statue is complete and intact. But I just wanted to tell that story. Alrighty, I'm pretty happy with how most of that has turned out. A few ideas I had to leave by the wayside, a few other toys I think I might have a further think about before whether or not I place them out there. It's a work in progress, it always is. We are in the end of September as I record this now, and by December, I think I'm just going to change my mind all over again. But you know what? I'm actually really pleased with how much more of the gaming stuff I've been able to put on display. And of course, if you've watched the other videos in this series, you know we're at the lighting stage of the video. A couple of things on that. One, the expanded shelf. It hasn't got any lighting in it yet. It's still a work in progress. I might even change my mind a week after I publish this video. Also, I was just lazy. The other thing is that I bought a set of Arlec remote-controlled power outlets. I actually bought these weeks ago, hoping to kind of implement them, but I never got around to it. I thought, let's do it now. Basically, they help you control, the power outlets, especially if they're hidden away or in hard-to-reach areas. I've set one of them up. Here we go. Hey! That worked well.